Hi computer scientists, Mr. Stafford here, and today I'm going to be showing you Unit 2, Lesson 9, Modifying Object Data. So the instructions ask us, or tell us that the owner has baked more and has doubled the quantity of their desserts. And we need to import dessert.java from our backpack. So we go to backpack, find dessert.java, hit import. And we need to write mutator methods for each instance variable in our dessert class. So I'm looking at the dessert class, and the instance variables we have are flavor, quantity, and price. And so I'm going to flow down past our accessor methods that we did in the previous lesson. If you haven't seen the previous lesson, go back and do that now so that you have your accessor methods. And now we're going to write our mutator methods. So this is going to be mutator method for flavor, and I need to do that for flavor, quantity, and for price. So leave yourself comments so that you know what your methods are going to do. Okay? So the mutator methods need to change the value for your instance variables. So they need to be public. They're going to be void. We're not sending any information out of these methods. And I call them setter methods because I want to set the flavor. Flavor is going to be a string. And I'm just going to put F for flavor. And my instance variable flavor is going to equal F. And do that same thing for quantity. So public, void, set quantity. Quantity is an int. I'll go int q. And my quantity instance variable is going to be equal to my parameter of q. And mutator method for price, I'm going to say public, void, set price. And price is a double, P, and price is going to be equal to P. So I like to run this to see if I have errors, and it looks like I do have errors. So cake equals new cake on line 11 in my food truck. I haven't imported my cake class. So what I can do is either import that now or comment it out. I'm going to opt to import it now because I'm guessing that we're going to need to import that at some point. So I'm going to import my cake class, import that, go back to my food truck, I'll run this again, see what other errors that I get, clear my console, run it, and it ran successfully. Okay, so we are finished with this level. Next level, it asks me, so in the My Food Truck Java, call the mutator method to update the quantity of new dessert to double the previous quantity. So it says, to do, double the quantity of new dessert. So I need to say new dessert dot set quantity and instead of hard coding this, hard coding meaning just looking at the actual value for the quantity, what I want to do is use my accessor methods from the previous lesson. Okay, so those are my getter methods. So I want to get the quantity from new dessert. So I'm going to say new dessert dot get quantity and I'm going to double it, so I'm going to multiply it by 2. So this does a couple things. First thing it does is that I don't have to do the math in my head. I see that the quantity is 12, so I'd have to double 12 and then insert it here, but I can just let the computer do that for me. So I get the new quantity using the accessor method, and then I just multiply it by 2, and I let the computer do the work for me. Okay, and it says get the value of the quantity and print it to check. So what I want to do, it says get the value of the quantity and print it to check. So now what I want to do is I'm going to say int new dessert quantity is going to be equal to new dessert dot get quantity. So use that accessor method again. I'm going to say system dot out dot print new dessert quantity. We'll run this, and it prints out 24. And so just to double check, 12 times 2 is 24. So we're good there. And we can finish this. Let's go on to the next programming activity. And over in the instructions it says the owner wants the price of a cake to be dependent on the number of layers. Cakes must have at least one layer. So for example, a cake has 2 layers and the price is $1. When they update layers to 3, the new price should be $1.50. So what they want us to do is import cake.java. We did that from before so I could run it and test it and not get any errors. Okay, so we've already imported cake. And it wants us to write a mutator method for layers in cake.java by translating this pseudocode. So I'm actually going to expand this out because it gives me a nice little pseudocode of an if statement. And so it's saying if new layers is greater than 0, then what we're going to do is update price to price times new layers divided by old layers. And then still within the if statement, we can see that it has been tabbed over. So within the if statement, right, if the new layers is greater than 0, then we want to update the layers to the new layers that they have told us. Okay, so we're going to let that be our little template for this mutator method. So in cake, I need to write a mutator method for layers. So I'm going to say mutator method for layers. Okay, this is going to be public, it's going to be void, and I'm going to say set layers. Inside of set layers, it's going to be an int, and I'm going to put L for layers. Open up my curly braces, and we'll start it with the if statement. So I'm still reading the pseudocode over here. It says if new layers is the L that I have in here. So maybe I want to name it new layers actually. So let's call it new layers. Just so my pseudocode and my actual code kind of line up and I can tell what's going on. So if new layers is greater than 0, what we're going to do is then flow into the if statement. And we want to update price to price times new layer divided by old layers. So I'm going to use some accessor methods from my dessert class, okay? Because I want to update my price. I want to update my price of this. And I see that I don't have an accessor method for price in cake because cake extends dessert. So cake extends dessert. And price is handled in my superclass of dessert. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to update the price. So what I want to do is I want to set the price, okay? So calling set price. And I want to get the current price because we're updating price to price times the new layers. So I need to get price, open and close parentheses, times the new layers divided by my old layers. So the old layers, okay, I can use my accessor method within the cake class to get that, to get the old layers. So I'm going to do that now using that accessor method of get layers. Okay, and that statement. And then what I want to do is update layers to new layers. So my instance variable is called layers. My instance variable is called layers, just to make sure. Yep, it is. Okay. Is going to be equal to new layers. Okay, I'm going to run this, make sure I don't have any errors. I don't have any errors. I haven't tested this out yet, but I'm going to hit finish. Okay, and then in the instructions it says in myfoodtruck.java, update the layers to double the previous layers. So we have some comments here. It says to do, double the layers of new cake. Okay, so I'm going to say new cake dot set layers. Okay, because I'm updating the layers, and what I want to do again is not hard code this, but use my accessor methods to talk to new cake, and I want to get the current layers. So new cake dot get layers, and I'm going to double them. So I'm going to multiply it by 2, and again that just saves me from having to do the math myself, even though currently I just have one layer. Okay, and it says get the value of the price and layers and print to check. Okay, so that's my next thing. Actually, I want to run this, make sure I don't have any errors with the new line that I just typed. I don't, so I'm going to continue on. And it says get the value of price and layers and print to check. So I'm going to say int new cake price is going to be equal to new cake dot get price, and it's not an int, it's a double, so make sure that our data types are correct. And my layers though, so int new cake layers is going to be equal to new cake dot get layers. Okay, and print to check, so I'm going to do a system dot out dot print line, and I'm going to say the price of the cake is, and concatenate new cake price, and make another printout system dot out dot print line, the number of layers is, and concatenate new cake layers. All right, let's test this, make sure that we're good. So I see 24, the price of the cake is 5.95. So to make this print out a little bit prettier, I need to go back up to line 10. I just have a print, so I'm going to do print line on line 10 just to separate those out a little bit. So that says 24. The price of the cake is $5.98. So the way that I got that is, I can test that my method works, is $2.99 times 2 should be $5.98. And we can test that out with a system.out.println also. And I'm going to do that here just to make sure that the math is good. And we can do 2 times $2.99. And make sure you have your decimal. Run that. 2 times $2.99 is $5.98. That's good. I'm going to comment that print statement out now the next time that I run it. And so the price of the cake is $5.98, which is double. And the price, or the number of layers is 2. So I have doubled the number of layers from the original, which is what we wanted to do. All right, very good. We can hit finish on that. And it says import your other dessert subclass from your backpack. So my dessert that I made a few lessons ago was cookie. I'm going to import that. It says add mutators as necessary. So for each instance variable that you do not add a mutator, leave a comment next to the variable explaining why. and one of the mutators must call a superclass's accessor and call a superclass's mutator. Okay, so I'm looking at that. I've got my cookie class, and I have diameter and isChewy. I'm just going to write mutator methods for both of those. So diameter and isChewy. So I'm going to write mutator method for diameter and mutator method for isChewy. Okay, so I'm in the cookie class. I'm going to write a mutator method for the diameter of this cookie. So if I'm thinking about a cookie and I'm trying to sell these things, and the diameter of my cookie, if it gets bigger and bigger, I think that the price should be in proportion to the diameter of my cookie. And since the diameter is going to dictate the price of my cookie, I need to keep that in mind for when I'm writing this method. And one of the requirements is, one of the mutators must call a superclass's accessor and call a superclass's mutator. So let's think about, for the dessert, we have price, and we can get the accessor for getting the price and the mutator for setting the price. So that's kind of where we're at. So let's do this. Okay, so the diameter is going to be public, and void set diameter. Okay, and the diameter is going to be an int new diameter. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set the price using this new diameter. But what I need to do is get the current price, so it's going to be get price, open and closed, and I'm going to multiply that price times 1 plus the difference of the new diameter and the old diameter. Okay, so it's going to be 1 plus new diameter minus old diameter is just the current diameter that I have, which I can use get diameter for, or just, and I probably should. I'm going to do the get diameter method in this class, and that'll be good. And I also need to set the diameter. So diameter instance variable equals new diameter. Okay, let's run this, see if I have any errors. Okay, no errors so far. And I need to make a cookie object. So I'm going to do cookie pumpkin equals new cookie. And that cookie needs to take in flavor, quantity, price, flavor, pumpkin. Quantity is 1. Price is $1.50. Diameter, 3 inches again. Let's do 3 inches. And Boolean is chewy, is going to be true. Okay, so I'm going to do a system.out.print, and I want to print the diameter and the price. So the diameter is, and then I'm going to do pumpkin dot get diameter and system dot out dot print line. The price is, okay, pumpkin dot get price. I'm going to print those out, run this thing. have an error on line 27, and it's expecting end parenthesis, system.out.println. Oh, I forgot concatenation. Plus sign, see if that works. It does. So the diameter is 3, the price is 1.5. So let's change the diameter. So I'm going to say pumpkin dot set diameter. Let's set it to 4. And the diameter and price should change. And I'm going to say the new diameter is, and the new price is. Run this. The new diameter is 4, and the new price is 2.5. So it's $1 more than the old price. Looks good. Okay, back to cookie. I still need to write my mutator method for is chewy. So I'm going to say public void set is chewy boolean chewy. Open this up, and I'm just going to change it. I'm not going to be calling any of the super classes accessor or mutator methods. I'm just going to change the way that it's cooked. So I'm going to say is chewy, which is my instance variable, and chewy. Very good. Run that, make sure I don't have any errors, and I don't. Last thing to do, commit our code. I've changed, just to be safe, I'm going to commit everything that I've done and say mutators written, and commit and save.